So I think it's really important to understand this relationship between confidence intervals and hypothesis testing. In particular, when we're testing about the difference of means, we're usually testing about 0, right? Okay, and there's sort of two things that could happen. Okay, so the first thing that could happen here is that the interval does not contain 0. So that was not the situation that we were in for this particular example, right? But if it doesn't contain 0, 0 isn't a plausible value for the mean. If you do a hypothesis test, a two-sided hypothesis test, maybe I should specify here. If you do a two-sided hypothesis test, when you work out your p-value will be less than your alpha. You're going to end up rejecting your H-naught. Okay? So either way, whether you did a confidence interval or whether you did a hypothesis test, you're going to make this conclusion that the two groups are different. So that's one sort of scenario that you could end up in. The other is you could end up with an interval that does contain 0. So this is similar to the last example we did on the smokers in North Carolina having babies, right? And we found that the p-value was greater than the alpha, which means that we did not reject H-naught, which means that we make sort of an overall conclusion here. We conclude there's no difference or no evidence of a difference. So again, we have sort of two different processes for different reasons. Confidence intervals are particularly good when we want to show the magnitude of the difference, right? Is the magnitude of the difference really small or really big, right? Confidence intervals are good at that. Hypothesis tests are really good at describing the strength of the evidence, right? If that p-value is really small, that means there's really, really strong evidence to suggest that, you know, that they really are truly different. So different approaches for different reasons, but you should be able to come to the same conclusion regardless of whether you've constructed a confidence interval or whether you've decided to conduct a hypothesis test.